Now it's like,
At least
I'm
in the
just
top
a
half of their
bill,
body.
yes, I'm
Right.
only a bill, and I'm
Exactly.
sitting there on Capitol Hill. I'm
Masterpiece.
the capital city.
Maybe, but probably.
That's the tea. That's the tea. That's the tea with Jacob Spike Kraus
and friends.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jacob Spike Kraus, and welcome to episode 7. Episode 7 of That's the Tea with Jacob Spike Kraus and friends. Today, all the way from the great state of North Carolina, Eliana Light. What's up, Eliana? How you doing?
Hi, Spike. I'm really excited to be here. What is this, a crossover episode?
Crossover episode, right. So Eliana has a show that she runs every Wednesday called Eliana Light and Friends. What's that about?
It is Jewish music for kids and the child at heart in all of us.
So we decided, crossover episode, we would host That's the Tea, featuring Jacob Spike Kraus and Eliana Light and Friends and Friends. Well, Eliana, super excited to have you here. Our friends over at Gold Herring, who run the Jewish Monthly Tea Experience, have been gracious enough to send us the month of Cheshvan's fancy tea that we are going to explore. Now, you have not tasted this tea, and neither have I. Those of you who missed episode 6, you should go and check it out. But basically, Jewish Monthly Tea Experience, they work with an herbalist to make tea blends that are specific to the values and experiences of each Jewish month. They send it out with the blend in this bag. It smells amazing. This booklet, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that shares instructions and teaching and activities and all sorts of Jewish spiritual goodness for the month. So if you are interested in subscribing to the Jewish Monthly Tea Experience, as you watch this episode, you're like, that looks amazing, I really want to be a part of that, you can follow this link down here to jacobspikekraus.com/goldherring. Actually, we will, by the time this episode comes out, have missed the deadline to register for Kislev, which is next month. So you need to register and subscribe by November 16th, which will be a package for the month of Tevet. Steeping it real. So steeping it real, we're letting our tea steep and cool off because we were just talking about how it's probably very hot and probably too hot to drink. Steep it real for us, Eliana. What's going on while our tea steeps? Who are you? What are you up to? What is life like normally? What is life like right now? Just give us the 411.
I am one of those Jewish musician educator type people that we seem to surround ourselves with. I focus primarily on understandings of God and prayer. What does it mean to pray? What do we mean when we say God? How can we delve a little deeper into those ideas? I write music. I sing music. My last album is a concept album spanning genre of one person's wrestling with the idea of God. For my first real kids album, Eliana Sings About Jewish Things, I really envisioned it being like Schoolhouse Rock for Jewish kids.
Do a little bit of a taste test. We're as explicit as possible in the flavor tones that we're getting from today because we're partnering once again with the Jewish Monthly Tea Experience and our friends over at Gold Herring. Normally, I invite friends to bring their own tea and kind of do a taste test, but we are both, for the first time, exploring the Cheshvan blend of tea from the Jewish Monthly Tea Experience, which includes such favorites of Harry Potter as motherwort, hawthorn, turmeric, and raspberry.
It starts with an earthy note, smells like grass in a really good way, with a sweet finish and a hit of acid, which is what Tom Colicchio always says on Top Chef, and I've always wanted to say it. And it feels very calming. One of the things that talked about in the book was Cheshvan as a grounding time.
It's definitely more earthy in tone than the Tishrei blend was, which was a lot more sweet and forward. There is turmeric here.
Yes.
I definitely, it's very turmeric forward, which I think is good, which I've always felt that turmeric is kind of grounding.
Yes.
And like pulls you back into the earth. And they wrote now in this book where they talk about these designs that fall is the time to add more roots into your diet and things like that. And turmeric, where they use the root of the turmeric plant. They use raspberry, but they don't use the berries.
Right, it's the leaf. It's the leaf of the raspberry, which
What-
is why you might not taste the raspberry itself.
Raspberry fruits are a wonderful summer treat. But did you know the leaves are also loaded with nourishing minerals and have a special affinity for toning the pelvis? Tea time! All right, I got a bunch of rapid fire questions for you in tea time. Question number 1.
Yes.
What's your favorite type of tea?
My favorite type of tea is mint tea, particularly spearmint tea.
Question number 2. What is your favorite word that starts with the letter T?
So the first thing that came to my mind was terrific. Terrific. It's a good word. But the image that came to my mind was Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. There's a wonderful thing about Tigger. I don't know if you knew. It's that Tiggers are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber. Their bottoms are made out of springs.
Springs.
Tigger
They're
represents that
bouncy,
kind of...
fun.
And the most wonderful thing about Tiggers is...
They start with the letter T.
that kind of boundless energy flow, which you can't have all the time. That's why, like, Tigger needs an Eeyore.
Tranquility. What do you like to do to relax?
At the beginning of the pandemic, took up a new hobby called diamond painting. Paint by numbers, except instead of using paint, you put these little gems on a sticky board.
Tea party. If you could invite any three people from any point in history over to Durham, North Carolina to have a tea party with you, who would they be and why would you invite them?
Miriam, I would love to invite her to tea. She had a well that followed her, and water is a very important ingredient in tea. Second name that came to mind was Rosa Parks, to talk to her about what life was actually like, because we forget. It would be cool to have her here to talk about that process and maybe get a little bit of hope in these times. The third person that I just thought of is my dad, who's no longer with us, and it would be really cool to see him, talk to him. Growing up, we always had that like fancy box of tea that we would bring out on Friday night, and it has been like, I'll know I've reached adulthood when I have a fancy box of tea. I don't currently have a fancy box of tea. I have all of my tea shoved in a drawer.
Tishrei. Okay, so I know that it's Cheshvan's tea now that we're drinking, but Tishrei just flows so perfectly that I've decided that this segment will always be called Tishrei. This is the segment that we created specifically for the Jewish Monthly Tea Experience, because their gathering guides come with activities that you can do for casual gatherings, for teachings, if you're an educator or youth director or whatnot, some mindfulness and meditation exercises and things. Tishvan. The month of Cheshvan is sometimes called Mar Cheshvan. The prefix Mar, which means...
bitter.
Thank you so much, Eliana Light, champion of the people and educator of the masses. After the celebrations of Tishrei, Cheshvan can sometimes feel like a return from a fabulous vacation. It started raining, Hanukkah, and it's like light and happiness is really far away still. So it's believed that the rains of the Great Flood began in the month of Cheshvan. The Great Flood is the flood from Noah, right? From the story of Noah, and Noah builds an ark to survive with his family and 2 of every animal. As the rains come in, we need to plan our own ark. An ark can be a stable routine or ritual that keeps you grounded, or a future plan that keeps you motivated. So I want to ask you, Eliana, if you have a routine or something, a practice, your own ark that's trying to kind of keep you grounded and safe during this tumultuous 2020.
I love this question, and I think it's something that I've been thinking a lot about. I don't feel like I have a great routine right now, but this reminds me that I can look back at things that I've done in the past and think, what do I want to try and reintroduce? Something I've been thinking about is daily walks. What does it mean to get out of my space? Finding room in my day for dancing every day, finding moments of deep breathing.
Spill the tea. You have to share some embarrassing stories or like juicy gossip or embarrassing tea about yourself. Or if you really don't want to do that, you have to literally spill the remainder of your tea on your lap in front of everybody.
Okay, so when I was in 4th grade, we did a play about Christopher Columbus, like cringe, right? Just in general. And I played Christopher Columbus. Why? See?
Well, thank you, Eliana, for joining us today on this episode of That's the Tea with Jacob Spike Kraus and Eliana Light and Friends crossover episode.
Woo!
Big, big, big thank you to our friends over at Gold Herring. This program is amazing. If you want to subscribe, you can go to this link down here and subscribe for the month of Tevet. You must be subscribed by November 16th. This was awesome. I'm so glad that you came. Until next time, everybody, steep it real, be safe, wear a mask, be healthy, vote. Definitely vote. And we'll talk to you soon. Later, everyone.
Bye.
That's the tea. That's the tea. That's the tea with Jacob Spike Kraus
and friends.